Hey, you guys, thanks for listening in to this episode of Tips with T. On today, I have Mr. Leonard with us. Hey, Mr. Leonard, how are you doing today?
Hello, T. How are you?
I'm doing well. So tell us a little bit more about yourself and what you do.
So, I run a law firm marketing agency. So, a marketing agency who helps lawyers and attorneys
Mhm.
called Geek House. And we help attorneys build authority, create their brand, but ultimately get new clients
Mhm.
because that is the result that we all care about.
Right, right. So since you help with branding, explain to us more what is personal branding for those of our listeners who don't know what it is.
Yeah. So as it relates to attorneys or really anyone, right? We all have personal brands. So how do you show up on social? How do people connect with you? How they expect you to respond and act and all of those things. So as it relates to attorneys, we look at personal brands as an extension of their professional self.
Mhm.
So most attorneys that I've come in contact with really split the difference. They've got their home life and
Mhm.
then they've got their professional life,
Mhm.
right? And so at the professional life, it's a collar, it's a jacket, right? We're very buttoned up. And then the home life, we usually have kids running around and it's a zoo, right? So we don't want people in that. But my job and really where the attorney gets to flourish is when we bridge those two together.
Mhm.
So we want to see you. People want to see you as an attorney, as a professional, as someone you're going to hire, right?
Mhm.
Most of us have a hard time relating it to attorney because we don't hire attorneys every day. But think about like your dentist or the person who does your hair, right? You pay attention to them on social just because you know them, right? They're interesting. We want to see them. So we take the professional information and all that expertise, plus their personality and personal side, and blend those two together to create their personal brand. And then we put some fuel behind that and promote it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So I guess why would you think personal branding is so important?
Well, it didn't used to be important before social media,
Mhm.
but in today's day and age where anytime we see anything, we're Googling it, we're looking it up on Instagram, we're doing something. So we have to lay the digital dust, and that digital dust is made up of our personal brand. What are we talking about? What's our hobbies, our interests? And we got to bring all of that together, really more so a personal brand, but it's really a business brand, right? I'm assuming we're all entrepreneurs. Everyone listening to here is an entrepreneur. So we have that duality to us. And so marrying that together is really the key to personal branding.
So I guess what would you say will be the first thing to start with when we're trying to create um, our personal branding?
At the I don't want to sound cliche, but we need to know who you are, right? Who's your identity? And that's usually lost on a lot of people because they think about their passion or what they think they are. And it's really difficult to see the label of the jar that you're in.
Mhm.
So ask your friends and family, right? Or maybe you can even ask yourself, what are people constantly coming to you about? Maybe it's gardening advice, maybe it's cooking, maybe it's tax help. For me, it was always marketing.
Mhm.
People were coming to me asking me, does this design on my graphic design project look good? Is this going to let me get more clients, right? Is this website going to convert, right? It was always marketing related questions. So, in terms of the most important thing that any listener could do is find out who they're speaking to. Because if you are speaking to everyone, you're speaking to no one. So, we need to narrow that in, at least to some degree, as specific as possible as you can be, because then when you're writing a blog post or filming a video or doing a podcast interview, you are tailoring it to be helpful to that one person who's your ideal client. Now that's an avatar, right? So it's not just one person. But when I write an email, when I'm doing a video, I'm thinking about one person, one client particular, that I'm speaking to that person. So identify who that is for yourself.
Awesome. And why do you think consistency play a role when it comes to our personal branding?
Yeah. So just like in any relationship, right? We maybe are friends and then we date and then we get married.
Mhm.
Well, when people start building a relationship with you, going from being a complete stranger, the consistency is important, right? If you're texting someone and then they ghost you and then they come back and you text them and then they ghost you, how much trust do you have with that person?
Mhm.
Likely very little, right? So that's very different than someone who's in regular communication with you. And what that looks like for a business in the marketing sense is publishing regularly or consistently, right? We have clients who publish every day. We have clients who publish every week. We have clients who publish once every 2 weeks.
Mhm.
There could be an argument made for what's better, what's worse, but look at the consistency as keeping that integrity with yourself. You've made the commitment. Now you're publicly accountable. Don't let your audience down.
Awesome. And I know before we was talking about, also too, when it comes to marketing and, personal branding, how do you create your first product?
How have you created your first product? If I could ask you a question, attorney like.
Well, first you really have to identify a need of something. So I knew it was a need, definitely a need with financial planning, budgeting and stuff in my area, because a lot of people we weren't taught financial literacy in school. So I knew there was a need there to actually try to create a product or a package for them to learn to do things themselves, or me to actually do it for them, how to budget, how to properly plan financially, because it is important. So I would say by first identifying a need for something.
Yeah, a need, or what is different about you that you can add to an already established existing need, right? So let's take your example of financial services. There are so many options to get financial education, to get financial management, to get help, right? But someone comes to you because they know you, they've got a relationship with you, you do something different than the other people, right? You're in relationship with them. So when I was creating the agency, I was looking at any agency or most agencies would help a law firm, right? And we're going to do marketing for you. Okay, great. What does that look like? Oh, we're going to post on social. Okay, but where are we getting new clients, right? And for me, I created an agency that was results focused, that was new client lead generation focused. So do we do social media content? Yes. Do we do branding? Yes. Do we do a 360 approach? Yes. But at the end of the day, everything is tracking to do activities like sales and marketing activities that bring the client in, right? It's not just marketing for the sake of marketing. And so creating a product is kind of along that same route. Like I wanted to create an agency that wasn't just going to render services. I wanted to create an agency that was going to get results. So when I looked at who the competitors for Geek House were and are, I was like, that's amazing. They do branding. That's amazing. They do SEO. That's amazing. They do this. But there was not a clear offering in the market that put those all together with one strategist making sure that the ship is moving in the correct direction at the night. So I think like what you do for your clients, I do for our law firm clients, is we make sure that everything is looping in as it should be.
So I'm glad you mentioned competition. So and how that helped you, but I guess how or why should we actually just look at our competition in our market? Because a lot of people don't think we need to do that, but you actually do need to do, and based upon your area where you're located, you need to look into the competition. So why is it important to do that?
Always, you want to know who you're up against, who is running the race with you, right? I want to know what is that like, who's my competition? Who do I have to beat out, right?
Mhm.
And I like to always say that you can outmarket your next best and sometimes your next best competitors just if you have a strategy, right? You're never gonna, if you're a new soda brand, you're never gonna outrun Coca-Cola, but you need to know the other competitors so that maybe you're not a lost Fanta, right? um, Sorry for the Fanta lovers out there, but like a law firm. So when I'm working with a client, we say, who are your competitors? Because the clients in the marketplace, or rather the potential clients in the marketplace, are going to hire someone. So they're either going to hire me or your firm or the firm next door or the firm down the street. So what we do with competition is we look, okay, if everyone's talking about these three subjects, we need to talk about these three subjects and more. If everyone is giving away, or not giving away, but giving access to like meet them in some type of like online forum, right? Maybe they're hosting a webinar. Then if we're a firm who's competing with them, what should we do? Have an online event as well. So it's a really good indicator, treat it like a barometer on what's going on and what we should be doing. Competition also can help us create our products. So I have a client and we've been working with them for a few years now, and we've done everything amazing for them. But one thing that we're never aware of is our blind spots. So we did a competitive research project with them in the very beginning as part of our branding package. And so when we did that, the competitors were what they are. Now, 2 years in the future, competitors look a little bit different. So when we redid that survey of the competitors, we found new things that we just weren't aware of. It was a blind spot of ours. So also when you're looking at competition, most people look at it once and never want to look at it again. And although it's a little bit painful, we all have to go to the dentist. We all have to go to the doctor. We have to do things we don't like to do. So we like to look at competition at least once every 2 years with our clients.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Leonard, for being on the show today and giving us tips about personal branding and creating products. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share your social media handles, and you can tell our listeners how they can get in contact with you if they would like.
Awesome. Yeah. Everyone who wants to learn more, or any attorneys out there interested in learning how to build authority and get new clients for their firm, they can find us online at gogeekhouse.com. And we spell house Haus. So gogeekhouse.com.
Awesome. And if you guys want to get in contact with me, you can do so. My number is 910-317-0396. You can shoot me an email at contact@mjfinancial.biz. You can schedule a consultation on the website at www.mjfinancial.biz. You can find this episode on Anchor, you guys, and you can also find the video for this interview on the YouTube channel for M&J Financial Management. So thank you once again, Mr. Leonard, for being on the show. I highly appreciate you.
Thank you, T. Have a great one. Talk to you soon.
All right, you guys, and we will see you on the next episode of Tips with T.